Welcome to our tutorial on the split method in Python programming. In today's video, we're going to dive into the split method in Python. Before I begin, please take action now. Subscribe to this channel and hit the like button. Let's get started. The split method. Here is the syntax for the split method. What does the split method do? Well, the split method will allow the user to input multiple values per one input statement. But we'll give you some examples later on. But here's the syntax. We have the input statement here, the input command dot split. And then we have the separator. This is the delimiter. The string splits at the specified separator. Separator can be a comma, exclamation point, or whatever separator you code. If it is not provided, then it will be a white space. Then we have another argument here. This is the max split. It is a number which tells the user to split the string into a maximum number of times. If it is not provided, then the default is -1, which means there is no limit. So here's an example of how to use the split method. Let's go to the Python interpreter. I've typed in the program that you just saw earlier on my PowerPoint slide. Now, here I have first name, last name. So I have two variables here, but I only have one input statement. Here I'm asking the user to input the student's first name and last name separated by space. It's important to indicate how you want the user to separate entering first name and last name. So I'm very specific in my prompt to say it needs to be separated by a space. And then I have dot split here. This is my split method. It will take the input that the user entered and split them into two variables. The first name will go to the first name variable. The last name the user entered will go to the last name. And then lines 2 and 3 will just print the line 2 first name, line 3 last name. So if I run this, it will give me the prompt, enter student's first name and last name separated by a space. So I can say here, Jane with a space here, and then Doe. Right now I can enter two values. Before we can only enter one value per input statement, but now we can enter two because we've used the split method. And then when I press the enter key, it'll just print line 2 here. The student's first name is Jane, and then line 3, the student's last name is Doe. Let me give you additional examples of taking two inputs at a time. So here, as you know, that I'm asking the user to input two numbers separated by a space, right? And the first number will go into num1, the second number will go into num2. And I'm using the dot split, right? Make sure you put the dot and then the split method here with open and close parentheses. So here, lines 2 and 3 will print the num1 and the num2. So if I run this, I need to enter two numbers. So let's enter 44 and 77, right? With a space in between, 44 and 77. Then I press the enter key, and then it'll just print out the numbers for me. So as you can see, the input given can be any int, string, float, etc. We haven't mentioned the separated use, hence white space is considered as default. Now, let's look at this example here. Another example using split. So here I have three variables here. Certainly you can ask the user to enter three values with just one input statement here. So enter three book titles separated by commas. Now I'm not asking the user to just separate the values with a space, but I can indicate that it is with a comma. All right, make sure the user enter a comma in between the values. And then I have my dot split method. Now I'm indicating that you can only enter the three book values separated by commas. And I'm entering here 3 because of the 3 values that the user will enter, because I have 3 variables here. And then here I'm just printing book 1, book 2, and book 3. So let's run this. Enter 3 book titles separated by commas. So I can enter, for example, Exploring biology, my first book title, put a comma here, right? And then I can enter introduction to computers. That's my second book, with a comma, right? Make sure, because it says separated by comma. And then I can enter the last book as, we can say it is English, right? An English book. Now, when I press enter, you can see I print book 1. This is book number 1, Exploring Biology. Book 2 is Introduction to Computers. Book number 3 is just English. So as we look at the split method, you can see that every time Python encounters a comma, it will split the input of the users and put them accordingly. So Exploring Biology will go into book 1, Introduction to Computers will go to book 2, and English will go to book 3. Now let's look at another example here, and let's remove the number 3 here. And just have a comma right there. Now, when we run this program, so I don't have a max split number here. This program will run the same as the previous program. So let me type in Exploring Biology here, separate by comma. So this will go to book 1, Introduction to Computers. This will go to book 2, and then English will go to book 3. So this, even though we don't specify the max split number, it still works the same as the previous example when we put the max split number here. All right, let me show you another example here. Let me remove this. This one will also allow unlimited inputs based on, of course, the variable that you have here. So if I have book 4, book 5, and I don't have to say max split of 5 back here. And I'm just going to print also book 4, book 5. And then if I run it, you see, enter 3 book titles separate by commas. So let me just enter like biology, computers, geology, math. Right, I have to enter 5 books, and let's type in English. And when I enter here, so biology will go to book 1, computers book 2, geology book 3, math book 4, and then book 5 for English. Now, if you don't want all these printed, let's say I don't want book 5 printed, I don't have to print it. And let's just go ahead and type in biology, math, English, geology, and computers. And if you don't want book 5 printed, book 5 will not be printed. Let's look at another example here. This one, you can see I'm asking the user to enter the first name, which is a text. GPA could be a float, and classes taken, which is an integer. And I'm just splitting it. So it's separated by a space, and the print \n means that we are going to have a new line. So let's run this. The first name, let's put Sally, separate by space. GPA is 4.0, separate by space. The number of classes taken will be 20. And then we can just print the details here. First name is Sally, GPA is 4.0, classes taken is 20. Let's go back now to my PowerPoint slides talking about split here. So in summary, taking multiple inputs from the user using split is a convenient way to handle scenarios where you need to collect and process multiple values provided by the user in a single line of output. A single line of input. Thank you for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the like button for more videos about Python. Come back and join us again. Until then, have fun coding.